I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in April of 2004. The first thought that came into my mind after the pure shock of it was of my mom. She had recently, just 2 months earlier, passed away, and we had been very close. And so my first thing was I wanted to talk to my mom. But then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I'm really glad that she passed away, thinking that I was healthy and happy and that she didn't have to, go through this with me. The cancer came back as being stage 1 and non-aggressive, and that all the biopsies of the lymph nodes came back clean, and that there was only a 3 to 5% chance that it would ever reoccur. And then about 1.5 years later, I started having some severe pain, and they did an MRI, and it didn't show any kind of a growth or anything like that. So they ruled out it being a reoccurrence of my cancer. So that went on for about 1.5 years, and I did all sorts of things to try and get rid of this pain, and it just kept continuing to get worse. But I said, there's got to be something going on. So they did another MRI, and something finally showed up. And so I had another biopsy, and it was cancer again. So I went through radiation and another round of chemo. And so far the cancer is gone. But they discovered that the radiation to my pelvic area had damaged my femoral nerve to my leg. So they said that there really wasn't much that they could do about it, and that the femoral nerve either regenerates or it doesn't, and it can take a very long time for it to regenerate. So I've gone through all sorts of therapy, and I've progressed from a walker to a cane, and I'm now walking slowly without any assistance. Going through chemo was very hard, and yet my friends tried to make it as easy and comfortable for me as possible. And I'd have a secret friend show up at every chemo. My husband would always take me to chemo, and then I'd have a secret somebody, I never knew who was going to show up, and they would stay with me and then take me home after my chemo. The first set of friends that came bought me this little dog that was called Brutus, and so they said that he was to be my protector while I was at chemo. So I took this dog to chemo every single time, and he sat on my tray and protected me. Probably there are a couple things that have surprised me the most about cancer. And of course the first one, I think, is what everybody thinks is it can't happen to me, and it did. And I always prided myself in, taking good care of myself and exercising and eating halfway healthy, and yet, I got cancer. The other thing that surprised me was that when I was diagnosed, this mass inside of me was almost the size of a grapefruit. I mean, it just surprised me that something like that could be inside me with very, very few symptoms. Or, I felt fine, and I was at that point jogging and playing tennis. Oh, and also that that I was told I was in the 3 to 5% for a recurrence, and that it did recur. So, that kind of shocked me too. But when you think about it, somebody has to make up that 3 to 5%. So I was one of the unfortunate ones. For me, the worst part of cancer is my dealing with the side effect of the injury to the femoral nerve. That's been a real struggle for me. And, at this point, with the cancer being gone, that's what's remaining to be my struggle. I think the worst moment I had was not the original diagnosis, but when it came back, when I was told it was back. It was very scary. And then, of course, to know that, I had been able to avoid the chemo the first round, and so it was scary. I knew that at that point, chemo was the next option. What I'd like people to know most is that, and to take with them if they happen to come across cancer is to not give up. I've never given up, and just to keep fighting and to do what needs to be done. If I hadn't continued to work as hard as I have with my leg, I could very well just be in a wheelchair at this point. So you just got to keep fighting and not give up.